Hello, my name is Don McCullin, and I've actually spent the last 30 years going to war, and I've slightly got tired of that, and I'm now really looking around at other more interesting and beautiful things instead of, going to terrible places and seeing terrible events unfolding in front of me. I was basically nothing less than a kind of war junkie, really. And, I recognize this this day I recognize it, but at the time, that's all I could do was to go to war. If I wasn't in war, I was at home, I was unhappy, and, and so I have a lot to account for, really. I'm not totally what you call clean. I'm somebody who went through all that, but at the same time, there were moments when I was excited about it, which was totally wrong. Where I grew up in Finsbury Park, it was a very bad place to grow up. I mean, poverty, bigotry, all kinds of hatreds and violence. So we can discount any form of education. Whatever I've learned in life to this day, as we speak, is what I've picked up and taught myself. I basically failed to achieve anything given my younger life. And I taught myself photography by buying a whole stack of books. They were called photograms, and they commenced in 1886 and came up to 1926, the volumes that I managed to acquire, and the whole thing cost me 10 quid. Those books became my photographic university and my whole life, my teachings, and I still refer to those books today. There was a serious gang explosion in Finsbury Park because, this bigotry and gang warfare, it was tribal, really. We're talking about tribalism in our society. I mean, I think it still exists, to be honest. There was a gang clash. A policeman came to stop it, and someone knifed him in the back. And he died on the pavement at the bottom of my road where I lived in Finsbury Park. It was called Fonthill Road. A few months before the death of that policeman, I'd taken a photograph of the boys I went to school with in a derelict building. I rang the Observer, I explained who I was and what I wanted to show them, and they welcomed me with open arms. And I went there, and the editor said to me, the picture editor, "Did you take this photo?" And I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Will you do more?" And I said, "Yes, I will." And I did just that. And they published the photographs a few weeks later. They gave me £50, which was a king's ransom to me. And the next day, on the Monday morning, the phone where I worked in this animation studio never stopped ringing, and I was offered every extraordinary job in England. And that's the beginnings of my humble roots in photography. Sadly, based on the death of a policeman not far from Finsbury Park in North London. So there am I on the kind of jumping off spot of my whole life, but totally based on violence.